In early 1862, Johnny Abels, age 14, who lived in Callaway County, Kentucky, set up early in the morning to get wood for his ma. His ma is a widow and has two little sisters. One is the age of 7 and the other is age 10. Johnny is setting off to get wood on the Tennessee-Kentucky border. While collecting wood, Johnny meets Confederate soldiers that were heading to Fort Donelson. The Confederates asked him to come with them to collect wood. Johnny did not feel comfortable giving the Confederates a no answer. Johnny rode along with the Confederate soldiers for about 3 days before making it to Fort Donelson. Day after day, Johnny was going farther and farther from home. Johnny had made a friend on the way. His name was Johnny Roach. Once Johnny made it to Fort Donelson, the conditions were not that pretty. In the cold, the ground was as hard as a rock. Fort Donelson is attacked by Union commander Ulysses S. Grant. It is a hard loss for the Confederates and a great win for the Union. Johnny is now put on a prisoner of war steamboat heading to Camp Morton. When Johnny arrives at the camp with the Confederates, the conditions are very harsh. The ground is hard because of the cold, and many of them are forced to sleep on the ground. Lucky for Johnny and Roach, they got a tent. At Camp Morton, the man who ran the camp is Colonel Owens. He is a very nice man and often talks to the soldiers. At Camp Morton, they were not fed as much as they should have been, and there were minor diseases spreading throughout the different regiments. While at Camp Morton, other soldiers came up with writing a petition to Colonel Owens telling him that Johnny really wasn't supposed to be here because they only took him to get wood. He wasn't really a soldier. Once the petition reached Colonel Owens' office 2 days after it was sent, Colonel Owens sat down and thought about it for a while. Colonel Owens saw that Johnny did not have a proper uniform or a canteen or a Confederate war cap. Colonel Owens made the decision to let Johnny Abels leave Camp Morton. Colonel Owens gave Johnny a new outfit, a new pair of shoes and a get-by-free pass. One of the prison guards laid Johnny to the local train station and then the guard left. Johnny had to find his way home. Report: captured. A boy stuck in the Civil War. What were you thinking when you were riding alongside the Confederates and finally made it to Fort Donelson?
Well, I was mighty scared of what was happening just before my eyes. By Jiminy, I wish at that moment I had the guts to tell the Confederate soldiers that I have a family back at home. While we were riding towards Fort Donelson, I was getting nauseous. Every move made me farther and farther from my home where my mother had expected me. I did not know how my family would react to me missing. They wouldn't know what happened. I just hoped they wouldn't panic. While we were riding, I was wondering what my ma was going to cook for me when I got back home. Ma told me I was getting a surprise. When I saw the tall walls of Fort Donelson, I wanted to run away as fast as I possibly could have. I knew this couldn't be good. I didn't know if they were taking me hostage or they just took me because they needed more men to fight. I was mighty scared.
How did you feel and what were you thinking during the battle at Fort Donelson?
When I saw the Union ironclad, I immediately took cover behind a long dirt trench. I was like a newborn looking for help. By Jiminy, I wish I wasn't there. The Union soldiers invaded the base. All I could think about was my family. I was mighty scared. I hadn't even fired one round of ammunition at the Union troops. I just took cover. After an hour of fighting, I passed out. I woke up with my feet stuck to the frozen dirt that lay beneath me. The soldiers were taking our regiments one by one onto a steamboat. We were headed for a prison. I just hope it is indoors. I am done sick with this cold, nasty weather. I wanted peace between both sides in the war. I wanted everything to be replaced.
Why didn't you not fight back against the Union soldiers? Did you oppose the Confederates?
I hated the war. I wish the United States was back to the way it was. I did not oppose either side. I did not understand why the Southerners needed slaves. I did not know why the North did not like it. I did not want to fire amongst the Union Army because I felt I was not allowed. I was from the northern state of Kentucky. I was scared to even open my eyes during that battle. I wanted my ma to comfort me, I really did. I realized that the Confederates would not go out without a fight. The soldiers were all tattered up. The soldiers were tough and they kept fighting until the end, and even after the battle they would still try. The war was upsetting for me. I wanted peace between the Confederate States and the Union.
What was going through your head when you were going to Camp Morton?
When I was heading to Camp Morton, all I could think about was my family. I wondered how they would feel. I just hoped they would not panic. My fellow soldiers were all tattered up. They weren't sure of what was going on. Some threw up. All of that happened so quickly, I don't know how to explain it. I remember hearing cannons, then I drew a blank. Once we arrived, the soldiers were exhausted. We all needed food, water, and time to relax. For the first couple days Cam was quiet. Everyone, including myself, was afraid. But Jiminy, I wish I had the guts to tell them, their soldiers, that I had a family. I wanted my old life back. I missed my ma and my two little sisters. I needed them. I also felt bad for my fellow Confederates. I want everything to be the way it was, equal.
When they let you out of Camp Morton, how did you feel?
When Colonel Owens sat me down and told me I was going to be set free, I was mighty happy, but I was also upset. My fellow Confederates that I had formed bonds with still had to stay. I wanted them to come with me, but they couldn't. All my friends suffering and myself leaving was not a bit fair. As I was walking out, all the soldiers were staring at me. I felt pain but more disappointment for my fellow Confederates. As I was heading to the train station, I was thinking about the Confederated more than my own family. When the man who was leading left, I was mighty confused. I felt suddenly helpless. I was just happy to be heading home.
Captured. Book review. 5 out of 5 stars. This book made me feel like I was in Johnny Abel's shoes. This book was written very well, the words and the way things were expressed. In the story it was very clear to tell what was going on. I think the story was amazing. I would recommend this book to my friend Gavin. He likes historical stories and I think it would be perfect for him. This story really makes you feel the real experience of the Civil War. The story is the best thing I have ever read about this certain topic. I like stories like this because it gives you a background of what has happened before your life.